it's a really exciting place because we'll have a Methodist youth group. At the same time, we'll have a bunch of French atheist activists from inside the city. They sit at the table together. Interesting. So by the end of the week, if we have a successful week, the youth group from Cedar Rapids is saying, wow, they are humanitarians, but they don't believe in God, they're activists, and they're living in the ghetto helping the poorest of the poor. Christ said, what you've done unto the least of these, you've done unto me. Clothe the naked. Here I am living in my middle-class home. I got to think about this. And then at the same time, the activists are looking and saying, wow, these kids in high school are really committed to following these radical ideas, giving everything to the poor, and all of a sudden there was a coming together instead of a separation, where these two groups would never by choice meet each other. And so for us that's really exciting. Sarah and I are from the Quaker tradition, and for us everyone's a child of God, so everyone's welcome here, regardless of your belief system. And if we shut the door to one person, we shut the door to everyone. The one thing we ask of people is tolerance. So obviously if someone was here full of a lot of hatred towards one specific group, we'd have to, as kindly as we can, engage and find some kind of healing. So that's an exciting one, the inner work, because we get such a range of people here. And we're like, if we can't find peace here, what chance is there in Israel and Palestine? What chance is there in Afghanistan, where people are actually taking each other's lives? So we want to be a model of the world, and if we can find something better here, we have something to offer. 5, the final one, is celebration and gratitude. So we actually have that as a practice, so we don't wake up and say, oh my gosh, these people there's homeless people, there's this old lady over there, and all of a sudden we're so crazed we lose the root of peace and joy that makes life a gift. So we remember on Sunday nights there's music night. There's storytelling. But this Sunday we have a published poet. You met Austin, who's going to do a poetry reading. Tonight is music night. We have a band who's on tour, who's going to be sharing their music with us at 6, which you're all invited to come back to. They'll be on the back porch, and they're called the Menders, and they bring their gift of music. And so we also have gratitude walks, gratitude circles, where we wake up and start by saying, wow, I'm alive, like what a gift. What do I want to do? Like I don't want to waste a minute. So gratitude and celebration is important, and in a way that is mindful. So we have chosen to be a substance-free land, so everyone can participate. Someone who's AA, folks come here who are dealing with drug addiction to heal because they know it's a safe place where they're not going to be tempted by that. Families feel safe coming here. It's not as much as a judgment of good or bad, just saying what's the most neutral sanctuary we can make so everyone feels comfortable. And that's it in a nutshell. I think I got excited on the spring day and went over my 8 minutes. Are there any questions about that? That's basically what guides us, those 5 practices. And again, to make sure those are happening weekly, each one of those. Questions, thoughts? We would love to shrink the practices to 1 for the sake of simplicity. But right now there's 5. If there's one missing, we'd love to have a 6th. So we're looking into that. Those are things that feel important to us, contributing to ourselves and outwardly. There's one other unique thing is it's the gift economy here, which I love this prayer. The sun never says to the earth, even after all this time, you owe me. Look what happens with a love like that. It lights up the entire world. And so when we look at creation, for us, we see that apple tree doesn't charge, the air doesn't charge to take a breath, the sun, everything is a abundance. For me, I think of acts as just like loaves and fishes comes from when we share with the community. All of a sudden there's way more than we need, and then we can share with those who don't have anything. So everything's free here. We offer permaculture courses, we offer trainings, simple living, anything you can imagine. People who just come, we feed them, we house them. And sometimes it's we've had women from the women's shelter when it's full. we take them and their children and say, hey, stay here. We don't have the staff to support you, but until you get a home. So just real hospitality. And so far in 3 years, we don't have anything, but the whole 80 acres is paid for. Everything you see, the animals, is paid for. We've hosted 2,200 people and have been able to feed them and care for them and share with them and teach. And we've actually sent over 1,000 people out into the world to do service, and 20% of every donation goes outward. So we've also been able to move over $15,000 to the state and to the national level and to the international level. And that includes, we paid for a woman who had no health insurance when she had a blood clot with an in-utero baby. So we're able to give her $1,000 to pay for shots, all the way to giving to an organization that we believe in. So that's the experiment. So far we're doing great. And we're all volunteers here, which is kind of unique and radical for this age, where it's all about the job. But by living here, I'm a volunteer, but I get room and board and health insurance, and I get to do every moment what I love. And anyone could show up who's excited about that vision, join, and get a home, and live here, and serve, and live. And that's what we kind of want to create, is a place where we're doing what is most important to us. And yeah, thank you for listening. So we're going to move from the big picture to how that plays out on the land. Is everyone ready for that transition?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And since you're so comfortable, I can point out a couple things before we have to walk. The pond, here's an example. Raise your hand if you've heard of permaculture. Okay. Permaculture, over 1 million people are certified now worldwide. It was started by an Australian named Bill Mollison, and he combined modern science with old-timey wisdom. He came up with a method of living that permanent culture, that would live in a way that the cultures could sustain themselves generation to generation. But for the modern world, how can you do that? And so there's intensive trainings. There are 76 hours of classroom time for certification, and we offer that. We're doing a class here in September, and anyone's welcome to join. It's a 3-week class. So permaculture wants to stack functions. If we can get our food and shelter and everything with the least amount of time, it frees up our time to do all these other things, music, serving others. So pond is a great example. When we got here, the cows were all around this area. What do you think the pond looked like with 70 cows around it? It was a mud hole. They pooped, a lot of poop, which would run down, and you've heard of over-eutrophication. Then the nitrogen loading, and then you have green algae everywhere. It's like Godzilla diarrhea to swim in the middle of summer. So we're like, hey, that's a good function, feeding your cattle. But in permaculture, you think, how can we get multiple functions